Welcome to Decker's seminar video about making your yard more bird friendly. Bird lovers are always looking for more ways to invite avian friends, not only just to migrate through, but to stay. So what we want to do is provide opportunities for shelter, cover, nesting, and of course food. While they love to feed from the feeders, also planting plants will encourage more variety of birds, and with native plants you'll get healthier birds and more nestlings to watch. So it's all good. Sometimes we tend to manicure our gardens too perfectly, and often what we need to do is leave a little bit of the wildness in there. Make it more like a meadow that you fall in love with when you go to England or France. So these are really opportunities. If you have some grasses that you have not cut back, they will still grow up green through the grasses that are left from last year. But most importantly, don't cut them in the fall. Let them come all the way through to spring and let the birds use that, the seeds from those as the early feeding. So, and the other thing, they really do need shelter, because it's not just the felines that are attacking them, but they want to cover from the hawks. And so basically you want to make sure you've got places for them to get their seed, scoot over, eat it under the cover of a yew or a tree. So really it's important to have those branches. So we want to create a paradise in our backyard. And one of the opportunities to do that is with fruiting, flowering, and foliage. And we have spring and summer. There's so many options for the birds, but we want to make sure we keep those options going throughout the summer, the fall, and most importantly, having lots of berries for the winter time. So what I've done is I've pulled a few. There's going to be a whole list of the items that I'm talking about uploaded to the site, so you don't have to take notes as we're going through. But I wanted to just talk about the berries for each month. We can start with June with blueberries, and we have the native low bush blueberries, which are really more of a ground cover. And they actually can be trimmed back each year, so it's almost cut down to about 1 inch from the ground. That will make them sturdier the next year. But so those are wonderful. We also have many other varieties of, this is a pink lemonade. We have raspberries and blackberries, so we've got all of the options for you. But starting with June, you have blueberries, mulberry, raspberries. July, we switch to chokeberry or aronia, high bush blueberry, viburnum, and in August, we switch into viburnum, arrowwood, elderberry, cherries, and September is dogwood, pyracantha. So all of these provide those wonderful, and all of the August and September, they'll continue to provide the berries throughout the winter until the birds eat them all, and then they're done for this year. So Long Island native trees, this is so important. We actually have many trees, but what is the most important about them is they provide the insects for the birds. Now, early on, before the berries and the blooms are there and the seeds, they are taking those insects and feeding them to their babies and also eating them themselves. We have a birch right here, and that's one of our natives. And that actually is a favorite of finches, juncos, titmouses, and cedar waxwings. And we have many others that I could not pull, but one of another berry that is a tree is the black cherry, and that also is a wonderful berry. Both you could make jam, but more importantly, the birds will enjoy the berries and the insects that it draws. So we also brought in some amelanchier, and actually that is going to appeal white spring blooms, and then the small fruits will attract robins and cardinals and woodpeckers. Elderberry and high bush blueberry attract more than 100 bird species. And Ilex verticulata is all songbirds. So really, if you're only going for a few natives to put in. Pick the ones that will attract the most birds, both for nourishment and cover. With perennials, I tried to pull a few perennials. Many more will come in later, but the New England aster is one of the best for the birds. And again, with perennials, the important part of perennials is actually not to deadhead those. I know it goes contrary to everything that a gardener wants more blooms. Even if you leave that, let's say from mid-August onward, leave all those blooms on the stems, because the dried seed pods are what will be the food for American goldfinches and cardinals, and they will actually land right on the seed pod and pick out the seeds that they want. We also got the first of our sunflowers in. That's another annual that is wonderful because it provides all that nourishment in those big sunflower seeds and the flowers. So we get a benefit looking at the beautiful flower, and the birds enjoy helping themselves to their own feeder. So echinacea, the purple echinacea or coneflower is really the best one to get, because that has all the native traits that our avian friends are looking for. So now, as I mentioned, insects provide, when birds are nesting for cardinals, they provide a third of the diet, in addition to the black oil sunflower seeds, which are her favorite. But really, we need to make sure. Everyone has always had this fear of insects, or there are caterpillars in my tree. I need to spray and get rid of them. Well, those are actually the gift from nature to keep all those avians happy and healthy. They're eating all those insects. So please try to avoid spraying any pesticides. This is so important that we have a natural balance, or if you must spray, you can spray with the organic neem oil, or actually some of the non-toxic, because when you spray with the toxic insecticide, and the birds will continue to eat those inchworms and all the other caterpillars and insects, because that's what their food is. But then you're actually poisoning the birds. So please try to be very careful with anything that you're spraying, and try to keep it organic if you can. I've had exciting news. One of our customers came in with pictures to show that her hummingbird pair has already returned in early May. So what I did, even though we'll have a seminar later for hummingbirds, I pulled some of the great plants, both the perennial penstemon and the wonderful rocking series of rockin' blue and rocking fuchsia of salvias. They're already budded up, which is early for them. So definitely you need to start creating your hummingbird haven. Aquilegia or columbine is one of the perennials that's an early bloomer, and this again is a wonderful one for those early arrivals who oftentimes will not be finding all the wonderful nourishing blooms that we have. So if you have your feeders, start feeding. It's making sure you've got that 1 part sugar to 4 parts water if you're mixing your own. We also have the clear nectar for the hummingbirds. And the most important part, those little hummingbirds, their wings beat so incredibly fast that if you do not have some trees or branches nearby that they can rest on, set up one using a shepherd's hook or a stake, and then have a little perch. You'll be amazed how often they will sit there, and you can then have a great photo op. So that's wonderful. We also have some little pentas in annuals, but these will soon be blooming and they'll get bigger and bushier. A couple of other important annuals that we have in flats are the cleome. These are wonderful because these will get quite tall, but the seed pods on them, my cardinals will actually go there and pick the seeds off of it through the pods. Zinnias are another. These are small right now, but they're the state fair zinnias, and they will grow tall, so you want to plant them more in the back of your garden. But they attract both the butterflies, and the seeds are also a favorite of the birds. Now, one thing you want to consider when you're picking your plants, while we all love the double and triple bloom, very thick petals, it's very important that you have a lot with flat surfaces so that the nectar is available both for pollinators and the birds and the butterflies. So make sure you've got a mix. It's great to have both, but make sure you've got a mix. The zinnias will fit that bill. Yarrow, which is another native, that also is wonderful. So you have to make it easy for the birds to get their nectar. So one thing I didn't talk about, and we're here in front of the fountain area, the other essential element, and this is a year-round element, is ensuring that you've got running water, whether you have a fountain or you just have a bird bath. It's all great, and with your bird bath, you can make it move by adding a little water wiggler, so it doesn't need the electricity, just 2 D batteries, and you can set that right in your bird bath. And it's very entertaining to watch the birds take their baths, and also, you know, I have probably 5 different bird baths, and they hop from one to the other. So several they keep for drinking, others they keep for washing, and it's very, very entertaining. So I'm going to just segue back to one point about the insects. Last year I had some tent caterpillars starting in my sweet gum tree, and it's my favorite tree because, of course, it's like having a bird feeder. It has the star seed pods, and the birds will go in there. I saw this tent caterpillar forming, and I was all set to try to reach up high and cut it out. And then the next day, there I saw a flash of orange and black, and there was a Baltimore Oriole head first into the tent, eating all of the caterpillars. My problem was solved without anything except helping Mother Nature and feeding the birds. So it's really a wonderful thing. Think about that with everything, and take a look outside. It's a wonderful time. So with that, I got to get back to work. We've got lots of people here and lots of beautiful products. So take care, and we'll see you soon.